Hi, welcome to another neural rewiring visualization story. This one is a past lifestyle visualization. Don't worry, you don't have to believe in past lives. It's just a style of visualization where you can make up a past memory. You can be anyone, any point in time. It's just a fun, creative way to do things. This one is going to be about making chocolate chip cookies at grandma's house as a kid. Maybe you've had that experience, maybe you haven't. Also, please comment below what kind of brain retraining visualizations, manifestation style for mind-body chronic conditions, visualizations that you would like to see on this channel. And let me know your experience as you listen to these. I'm new at this. I am trying to make improvements. Let me know how the listening experience is for you and if there's anything I can do to make it better. Okay, let's get started. I am standing in Grandma's humble little kitchen where the smell of home-cooked food always seems to seep out of every crack to welcome visitors, even when nothing's cooking. The light from the window pours onto the counter, making everything feel soft and golden and comforting. Grandma ties an apron around me, and while she does, she sneaks in a big, warm, comforting bear hug that smells like old rose perfume. The apron is too big for me, of course, but she folds it at the waist and says, "Perfect fit." She chuckles in her usual cheery voice. Her laugh always makes me feel like I've done something clever, even when I haven't. We are making chocolate chip cookies today. Her famous ones. Well, she calls them famous, even though I think only the family knows about them, but they are famous to me. Grandma sets out a big glass bowl, and I get to crack the eggs. It is harder than it looks, and the first one splatters more on the counter than in the bowl. I freeze, expecting her to be upset, but she just laughs again. "That's why we have plenty of eggs," she chuckles, wiping it up with a damp cloth. The second one lands perfectly in the bowl, and she cheers like I just won a prize. My chest feels warm and proud, like I'm the best egg cracker in the world. She hands me a wooden spoon to stir, but first she pours in the sugar. Lots of it. It looks like a tiny snowstorm in the bowl. And I can feel the grains crunching against the spoon as I mix. Next comes the butter. She says it's got to be soft, not melted, or the cookies won't feel right in your mouth. I press it down with the back of the spoon and it squishes. It's cool and creamy and it mixes in with the sugar. The vanilla comes next. A little brown bottle that smells so sweet, it almost tickles my nose. Grandma lets me pour it in. Just a splash, she says. Her hands guide mine. The dark brown liquid swirls into the mix, and I'm filled with its wonderful, rich, and deep aroma. The bowl is starting to smell like cookies, even though it's still just goo. Now it's time for the flour. She lets me scoop it out of the big canister and pour it into the mix. The fine white powder puffs up into the air like smoke. I feel some of it settle on my fingers, soft and dry. Grandma says to mix it slowly so the kitchen doesn't look like a bakery exploded. I stir carefully, feeling the batter get thicker and heavier with each turn. The best part comes next, the chocolate chips. I dump the whole bag into the bowl, and as I do, a few chips miss the bowl and scatter like little pieces of treasure. Of course, I clean them up by sneaking them into my mouth as I catch Grandma's eye. Her smile follows and we giggle. The sweetness melts onto my tongue. The batter is so thick now that my arms ache as I mix, but I don't care. The smell makes it so worth it. Sweet and buttery and perfect. Grandma takes over for a minute, her hands strong and sure. She shows me how to scoop the dough and roll it into little balls and space them on the baking sheet with just the right amount of space between. I try to copy her, but mine are more like lumpy blobs than perfect rounds, and I placed them too close together, unlike how they are on her tray. That's how you know they're homemade, she says, winking at me. While the cookies bake, we sit at the kitchen table, and she tells me stories about when she was my age. I only half listen because the smell coming from the oven is stealing all of my attention. It's incredible, warm and sweet and rich, like the happiest smell in the world. I feel my mouth start to water, and my stomach growls so loudly that we both laugh. Finally, the timer dings. Grandma pulls the tray out of the oven. The cookies are golden brown around the edges, soft and puffy in the middle. I can see the half-melted chocolate chips glistening. We have to wait for them to cool, which feels like the hardest thing I've ever had to do. And when they are ready, she hands one to me. It's still warm, and when I break it in half, the chocolate stretches out in gooey strands. I take a bite. It's like everything in the world stops for a second. The cookie is soft and buttery with just the right amount of sweetness. And the chocolate is warm and rich, and it melts in my mouth. I can feel the heat spreading through me from my mouth all the way to my toes. Grandma pours us each a glass of milk, and we sit together, dipping our cookies and eating slowly. The milk makes the cookies even better, softening the edges and cooling its warmth. I feel so happy and fulfilled, like my whole body is smiling. By the time we've eaten 3 cookies each, I feel a happy kind of full, like life is wrapping me in a warm hug. The kitchen is calm and peaceful, with the soft ticking of the clock and the hum of the fridge in the background. Grandma squeezes my hand and says, "Did you know you're my best helper?" I smile back at her, crumbs on my lips, and I know that I am going to remember this feeling of baking cookies with Grandma forever.